how are you? In today's video, I'm going to answer a question that you always ask me here on the channel. Are canned sardines and tuna bad for you? Is there any harm to our health from eating canned fish? Are there any tips for choosing better canned products? Stay with me until the end because you're going to love this video. First of all, if you're new here, don't waste any time. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. I have new videos every day and you won't want to miss them. If you know someone who eats a lot of canned sardines and tuna, a lot of canned fish, share this video with them. Let's spread this positive movement together because that's what I want here on the channel. A lot of people ask me to talk more about this issue of canned fish, like sardines and tuna. We know they're super nutritious, sources of high biological value protein, easy to digest, rich in omega-3s, very healthy, and really interesting. But does the industrial process of canning food cancel out its benefits? And does it become harmful to your health? Let's talk more about that now. The first question people usually have is about the amount of mercury present in canned tuna and sardines, especially tuna, because tuna is a larger fish. One thing I need to tell you is that mercury is naturally present in the oceans. Mercury is closely related to volcanic eruptions, which release lava and sediments into the oceans. So mercury is indeed present. It is a heavy metal that is toxic to humans, but it is there in the oceans. And animals always consume mercury in one way or another, because even those that eat algae may be consuming algae that have been contaminated with mercury. Smaller fish usually eat algae, plankton, phytoplankton, and other fish are carnivorous. In fact, fish that eat other fish have higher concentrations of mercury because they have already consumed food that contained mercury and in a higher concentration. And the larger the fish is, the more mercury it tends to have in its body mass overall. So larger fish, whether they are canned or fresh, will generally have more mercury than smaller fish do. So because of this, sardines already have an advantage over tuna in this regard because sardines are smaller fish with less body mass and less mercury accumulation. And tuna is a very large fish. Some programs show fishermen in Norway and Denmark catching tuna. It's a heavy, enormous fish, almost the size of a person. So these very large fish will have a lot of mercury, but these very large fish, the ones where you see the fisherman saying he's going to make thousands of dollars from it, are usually sent to the fish market, to Japanese food stores, or to Japanese restaurants. Because it's a premium fish, it's an expensive fish. And canned tuna usually comes from a smaller species of tuna or from tuna that hasn't grown that much, which doesn't have as much commercial appeal and from which the fishermen won't make as much money. So in that sense, since canned products are made with smaller fish, this contributes to the final product having lower levels of mercury. Usually, when we analyze canned fish, they have less mercury than fresh fish, in the case of tuna, precisely because fresh fish is usually that large fish that has grown a lot. Another issue people have is regarding the liquid in the can, whether it can be harmful if it's very bad, and some people think it needs to be discarded. There are some points here that we need to discuss. There are different liquids in which your fish can be preserved. The fish can be preserved in vegetable oil, which is the most classic and usually the cheapest. Typically, it's just a regular cooking oil. They take the fish, put it in the oil, and seal the can. The fish can also be preserved in water and salt, where they use briny water and place the fish in it because the higher concentration of salt means there's less bacterial growth. So it's a very effective way to give the product a longer shelf life. And other products come in sauces. Sometimes we find in the market fish, tuna, sardines, or even more unusual ones like octopus or squid with tomato sauce, chili sauce. There's a wide variety of sauces with different flavors. These ones with sauce are the worst options because usually they have a lot of salt and a lot of sugar in the sauce since these are processed, industrialized sauces. These are, without any doubt, the worst option for you to consume. So there's the option with oil, with water and salt, and there's also the option with olive oil, which is another one that's sometimes sold as well. If you can choose, olive oil is always the best option because the quality of the oil is better. If you choose between regular oil and water with salt, each has its pros and cons because in fact, with regular oil, you will be changing the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 in this meal. The fish we're using here as examples, sardines and tuna, which are the most commonly canned, are very rich in omega-3. When we add cooking oil, we add omega-6. So that ratio changes and it ends up being less beneficial. Whereas when we use water and salt, it doesn't change the fat ratio because you're just adding water and salt. On the other hand, there's more sodium. In any case, it's always a good idea to open the can and drain it, not to use the liquid that comes with it, because in fact, it's not advisable to use the liquids from canned foods. This is a classic point that we always know. Unless it's a preserve without preservatives, it might sound a bit strange to say that, but there are some food production processes where they put the food in water and remove the air by vacuum, so this ends up being a way to preserve the food. And these preserves are usually a bit more expensive. But, in any case, it's important for you to know that ideally, when we open tuna or sardines, we should use a strainer to drain them. If they're packed in water and salt and you want to remove more salt, you can also rinse them with filtered water before eating. Another important detail to remind you of is that if you choose to buy your fish in oil or olive oil, even if it's olive oil, which is a healthier fat, fat still has more calories. It contains 9 calories per gram. So even if you discard the excess, some of that oil will have soaked into your fish, which will increase the calorie content. So if you are in the process of losing weight, it might not be the best option. Keep that in mind as well. Another issue that we need to consider is related to the packaging of canned fish, specifically the can itself. It is important to understand that the can is often lined with a substance called bisphenol A. This compound, which is commonly used in food packaging, is currently being studied by researchers to determine whether or not it might be carcinogenic, meaning it could potentially cause cancer. There are some indications that it may cause problems for our bodies, and it still needs to be studied further. But in any case, for safety reasons, a war has been declared on bisphenol A, and rightly so that we consume as little of it as possible. Bisphenol A is found in the lining of some cans, but there are already cans without bisphenol A that you can try to look for. But be careful if you use a lot of plastic products in your daily life, because in some types of plastic it can be present, especially when we heat the plastic. And there is also the possibility in some cases of buying canned fish in glass containers. They are already sold nowadays, although they are a bit more expensive. But if you only use them occasionally, it might be worth investing a little more to ensure that you are buying a product with fewer compounds that could interact with your body, because glass really is an inert material and there isn't much exchange. Another important detail regarding cans is that we should never buy dented canned food. If you drop the can while taking your groceries out of the bag, throw it away, because that impact can release more harmful compounds into the product you are going to consume. Besides bisphenol, there are other metals as well, so it's a good idea to never consume canned products with dented cans because this can cause some kind of harm to our bodies. Going back to the issue of mercury, it's worth emphasizing that there are some studies that say mercury can cause a subtle delay in the development of some children. So be careful with the amount of tuna or sardines, whether canned or fresh, that you consume if you are pregnant, have a small baby, or are breastfeeding, because this can be passed on to the baby. This study was conducted on those Pacific Islands, where people eat a lot of fish practically every day, both fresh and canned fish, so you can see that the problem is not specifically with canned foods. This is just a warning I want to give if you are pregnant, breastfeeding, or if your child is very young and in the stage of developing many neurons and the central nervous system. Avoid offering too much fish that is rich in mercury, especially large fish, to your child or to yourself several times a week in order to prevent excess mercury in the body. In general, I always leave my message about balance, which I think is the best approach. We don't need to completely eliminate canned sardines. Sometimes they're useful, or canned tuna, but you can't use that as the foundation of your diet. I knew a woman who ate salad with canned tuna every day for lunch because it was convenient and cheap. So it can't be like that. Fresh sardines, for example, are also very cheap, and they don't have all these issues related to the can, like bisphenol that I mentioned to you. So always remember to keep your diet balanced. Once a week or every 2 weeks, there's no problem at all. It can be an option for those really busy days. It's much healthier than eating fast food, which would also be a quick option if you use it in the right way. Tell me down below if you usually eat canned fish, tuna, sardines, and which one you tend to use. Are you afraid to eat them, or have you never worried about it? I'd love to read your comment here. Share this video with anyone you know who would enjoy the topic so we can spread this positive chain, which is exactly what I want here on the channel. Also check out other related videos that I'll leave down below in the description with lots of healthy recipes and tips on health and nutrition. If you can, please like the video now because that helps me out. And if you're new here, don't waste any more time. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. I have new videos every day about the benefits of foods, recipes. You won't want to miss them. See you next time. Bye.